Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, State Senator Pete Goicoechea. We're talking mining, we're talking water, for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
From your house to the White House, the folks at D&D Roofing can get it fixed with their eyes closed.
Nearly 200,000 Nevadans work in retail businesses, supporting families and the community. Nevada's retail businesses generated over $2 billion in sales tax revenue in 1 year, including nearly $700 million to help our schools. Shop around and see all that Nevada's retailers offer our state.
We're the Retail Association of Nevada, representing thousands of Nevada businesses.
Businesses that work for Nevada.
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Safety is the #1 priority for the trucking industry. Over $7 billion a year is spent on technology like this electronic eye that will apply the brakes automatically. But the most important factor for safety is the truck driver. These hardworking men and women who safely move over 70% of our nation's freight and 94% of Nevada's. We thank you because trucks move America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from Carson City. We're in the Capitol building in the old Supreme Court, and an absolute pleasure to welcome back to the program State Senator Pete Goicoechea of District 19. Just to explain to people who may not understand that the power has shifted to Southern Nevada. How big is your district?
Well, my district, of course, starts at Oregon, Idaho, and it goes down the east side along Utah, and then goes to Moapa Valley, and I skirt around North Las Vegas, down the west side, Providence, Blue Diamond, down to Primm, and then on back across into Nye County. So it's 504 miles from Jackpot to Primm, down 93. So.
And how many miles a year do you put on your vehicle?
Well, I usually figure about 1,000 miles a week. Now when I'm in session, it's about 500 because I just go back and forth once. So it's actually, I travel less in session than I do when I'm not in session. You know, from here to Pahrump, if you really hustle, you can get there in 6 hours. And of course, that's sometimes you're getting a little over the 70-mile-an-hour speed limit. But
I've heard that you've occasionally had encounters with law enforcement, but they know you now.
Yeah, that's one thing about it. With this district, I've met most of the highway patrolmen that are in eastern Nevada, southern Nevada, and they're always very good, you know. And of course, I'm not flagrant about it, but you know, I need 10 miles an hour over the speed limit sometimes to get there.
And with a district that large, we'll forgive you. So let me ask you this. I remember a few sessions ago talking to people from the Elko County Commission and the Elko City Council of their concerns about representation of the legislature. They were down here themselves trying to have a voice. How bad is it across rural Nevada as far as people feeling that their voice is just not heard?
Well, I don't know. Again, we really try, but again, there's John Ellison that represents from Caliente North, all of Elko County in the Assembly, and then we've now got Greg Heff in the south half of the district, and then myself. But if you look at it realistically, there's 3 rural senators you could technically say, and that is, you know, Ira Hansen, myself, and James Settlemeyer, and we have 99% of the state.
And at least with the 3 of you, you have a lot of experience, so that is beneficial to know how the system works.
Well, I think it helps, and you know, I believe that you know, even in Elko County, they recognize that we do what we can, and we bring a lot of bills for, you know, whether it's the school district, the county, and just local people. But when you spread it out that thin, and when you try and make a meeting in Pahrump and stop on your way down and stop in Pioche or Caliente and then get back to Elko or Wells or even West Wendover. West Wendover is really tough for me because, you know, you're going the wrong way, and Mayor Carano there is a great guy, and we try and work with him, but we do a lot of our work on the phone. It's you know, it's a long ways.
The mayor of West Wendover may be the most enthusiastic politician I know in the country.
Yeah, he is, and he's on the upside. You know, Mayor Carano does a great job, and of course, you know, Wendover continues to grow.
Oh yeah, boomtown to say the least. So let me ask you a top of the news question, which is this merger that appears to be occurring now between Newmont and Barrick. What's your thoughts on that? Is it a good thing for Nevada, a bad thing?
Well, and I think it's pretty well done. It's not really a merger. They more or less entered into an MOU, as I understand it, and just for the Nevada properties. And so it's not a true corporate merger, but Barrick takes over the operating partner and at 61%. I think a lot of my constituents are very concerned, especially in the Elko, you know, and on down Humboldt County, Lander County, Eureka. Anytime you make a change like that, and of course they join the operation, there's going to be a lot of mid-level jobs, especially mid-level supervisor jobs, I think, that'll go away, and with that consolidation. So there are a lot of people worried. And then the other piece of it, you always had the opportunity, if you got mad at Barrick, you could go to work for Newmont if you were, you know, a good guy, and a lot of those guys are great miners, but you know, they are miners, and some little thing will tick them off, and they will change companies. They won't have that opportunity now, and I think a lot of people there are concerned it may impact the wages and the benefits in that region.
Do you think it's going to be big enough to actually affect the economies of Elko County and Eureka to any great degree?
No, well, again, it could impact the economies a little bit, because anytime you have a reduction in personnel, especially those mid-level personnel, supervisor personnel, I see areas like maybe Humboldt and Winnemucca and Battle Mountain getting impacted more as they move more of a corporate office focus right in Elko. But yeah, I think the true impact will be, there will be some reduction in forces.
When you look at the economy, for example, of Winnemucca, do you think that they are going to benefit at all from the expansion of places like the Tahoe Industrial Center, where, you know, housing is now moving out to places like Fernley, Fallon, down towards Yerington? Do you think that eventually you might see people doing a couple-hour commute coming out of Winnemucca to the northern portion of Tahoe Industrial?
No, I think it's just a little too far, Sam, and I do think that area, again, once we get up the 80 corridor, I think we will continue to see some small growth that maybe isn't mine-related, but and maybe is mine-related. With this merger, you know, they're definitely here for the next 40 years. That might bring you an industry into the 80 corridor that we can dovetail and put 1,000 people to work. You know, I'm going to be honest with you, Sam. When you come down 80 and you get close to the industrial park down there, traffic gets pretty thick, and so I don't know why any rational person would drive into that bee's nest long in the afternoon or early this time of the morning. It's pretty hard to get down 80.
What I'm thinking is, though, and perhaps, as you say, not as far out as Winnemucca, but you're going to have to see public transportation. You're already seeing ride sharing being put on by the companies like Tesla and others to be able to bring workers in a more efficient manner. But you're going to need, there's a need for roads. Another road going out into the Sparks area beyond I-80.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing is to extend USA Parkway to the west, and that way that would take quite a bit of traffic off of I-80.
It definitely has to happen, and I unfortunately, we're already way behind the curve there. Like I say, I'll tell you, if you're just going to South Reno, you can actually save time by coming down through Silver Springs, Carson, and going back to South Reno, rather than if you're going to get caught in that mess on 80 in the morning or the afternoon.
Do you think that we are suffering a loss? And I know politically you're not affiliated, but the power of Senator Reid to be able to drive dollars to Nevada, have we lost some of that strength with two essentially brand new U.S. senators?
Well, yeah, I'm sure it's going to be hard to replace Harry Reid in the Congress and the U.S. Senate, clearly. But I think Catherine Masto, and I've got a lot of respect for her. I've worked with her.
She's making a big effort in rural Nevada, isn't she?
She came out. We toured. Senator Masto and I toured the Lamoille Canyon fire and looked at that, and we've had several frank discussions on what we do need to do with wildland fire in the state. We're losing the rural areas. We're burning them. We're turning them black. And so it's an issue that's out in the east that we need to deal with. And she is engaging. So I think Senator Masto, and again, party politics completely aside from it, I think she's a good person and she's trying hard for Nevada.
Do you see the wildfire issue as one that it would be better if the BLM were listening to the ranchers and the farmers out there and the grazing abilities of their herds rather than the way that things have been done in the past few years now?
Well, yeah, we've got a wildland fire working group. In fact, we met yesterday and had probably at least 10 county commissioners and county personnel from all across the state at that meeting yesterday. Yes, we're really working on that. We're trying to bring an interim committee that will deal with just fire. If we don't change the way we're going, this isn't going to work. You can't. The last fire season, definitely in excess of $100 million in fire suppression costs. The state of Nevada is roughly on the hook for $25 million of that. We can't afford that. And you're right, the federal agencies are out there saying, well, you can't graze this, we don't want this kind of fuel reduction. We have no real input into how we can reduce that threat, and yet we're on the hook for 25% of the bill. We can't afford to do that.
Are you comfortable with the new BLM director?
Yeah. Rabbi's a good guy. I've met with him, but he's new, and it's going to take him a while. Is he a John Roos? No.
All right, let's take a break. We're going to talk your favorite topic, I'm sure, water, when we come back.
Tamarack Junction is South Reno's hotspot with over 450 of the latest slots and video games. Sully's Sports Bar, the Dining Car Restaurant, William Hill Sportsbook, and the Tamarack Steakhouse and Lounge. We're just north of the Summit Mall in South Virginia. Yeah.
Because of UMC, I'm putting my free time to good use.
Because of UMC, she keeps me on my toes.
Because of UMC and this guy, I'm here.
UMC, the highest level of care in Nevada.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
The Tamarack Junction Steakhouse is known for signature steaks, handcrafted cocktails, and world-class wines. Join us Thursdays and Friday nights from 4:30 to 6:30 in the Steakhouse Lounge for live music, gourmet plates, and well-priced wines, just north of the Summit Mall on South Virginia.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Back on Nevada Newsmakers in Carson City, we continue our conversation with State Senator Pete Goicoechea. Let's talk water. Lake Mead and the Colorado River cut a break this year with a very wet winter, and so they're not going to hit the lower thresholds that they were anticipating that they were going to hit. The governor has said that, and I'm paraphrasing here, but that he's not interested in moving Eastern Nevada water down to Las Vegas. But isn't the reality, as the Las Vegas Valley grows, it's probably going to be, the forecast at least is 3 million people or a little bit north of that, that eventually, maybe not today, maybe not 10 years, maybe not 20 years, but 30, 40 years down the road, Southern Nevada is going to need that water because the odds of renegotiating the Colorado River Agreement to get more water for Nevada, pretty slim.
Well, yeah, renegotiating on the Colorado, true, I don't think that's going to happen. What I see happening though all across the state, and again, whether we're talking close on the Colorado or even the Humboldt or even here on the west side of the state, whether it be the Carson, the Truckee, the Walker, water's going to continue to increase in value. And I believe at some point the water and the pipeline out of eastern Nevada probably are going to be very hard to get there. It's going to be hard to deliver, and it's going to be very expensive. So maybe there comes a point in time when actually you could purchase flows off the Colorado, again, whether it's out of the Central Arizona project, although they're strapped with Phoenix, maybe downstream into some of those waters that are actually ultimately getting to Mexico, desal some of those. But I think at some point, yeah, you might see some water go from northern Nevada to southern Nevada, but it won't be under this scenario with the importation of groundwater. I think they'll actually, at some point, you'll see the value of water get to the point where willing sellers will come to the table. And I'm not saying it's necessarily going to be groundwater out of eastern Nevada.
So where would the water come from?
Well, 70% of the water in the state today is held by agriculture and used by agriculture.
Right.
And you're going to see, and I think Senator Reed said that a long time ago, this water is too valuable to raise alfalfa with.
Oh yeah, he said that at the Las
times.
Vegas Metro Chamber a couple of years ago in DC, and it really wasn't very well reported except here on this program. He said the water would be much better used flushing toilets in the hotels on the Strip than it is growing alfalfa in eastern Nevada.
And I think that's exactly probably what will happen. And you know, because
so is that a generational change? Is that going to be the kids of the ranches who are now, or the grandkids of the ranches now, who are fighting this, but they will look at the value of the water versus the hard life? It's a great life for them, but it's a hard life in ranching.
No, I think it'll probably be more on the scale of smaller like Baker ranches there at Baker, Nevada. You know, those Tom and Dave and those guys, they're going to be there forever, and their family will be. But I think you'll see more of it as we get on the fringe and smaller developments in the tune of 1,000-acre feet, and maybe, like you say, a farmer that's got a section of ground out there in eastern Nevada, and he got old, his kids don't want any part of it, and ultimately you're going to see that happen. But truthfully, it's going to happen all across the state. We're so totally over-appropriated. Let's not even talk about exporting water out of these basins. Some of these basins are 200% and 300% appropriated right now, so we're 2 or 3 times over-appropriated. At some point, we're going to have to figure out how to balance those budgets before we can ever start talking about exporting water.
And that was another issue that Senator Reed was very much involved with, was saving Walker Lake, the Tahoe Truckee agreement on the water coming out of Lake Tahoe. And so, you know, we need a masterful negotiator. But I want to just turn to one other thing on this topic, which is the Southern Nevada Water Authority already owns the ranches with the water that they need. And somebody's going to have to build that pipeline. And isn't the Southern Nevada Water Authority the only group that has the bonding power and ability to be able to build that pipeline? So even if you're buying the water from multiple sources, somehow you got to get it down to Southern Nevada.
Right, well, that'll happen. And I think that's probably the biggest key piece of this is the fact that that $15 billion pipeline, when you roll that into what it's going to cost those ratepayers in Southern Nevada to build and deliver that water, I think it becomes too expensive. And so I don't know whether I don't know where the water is truly going to come from. At the point you start talking $15 billion worth of pipeline, I don't know, you could almost haul it in rail cars or trucks.
I wonder, we've seen over the years that in times of need, the room tax money has gone to roads, it's gone to education. So wouldn't that be a source of money potentially? I'm not saying today, tomorrow. And also, I'm going to get attacked by Virginia Valentine for saying this, I'm sure, but the gaming tax in this state is the lowest gaming tax pretty much anywhere in the world. And in a way it's good because it allows gaming companies to want to build in Las Vegas and across the state because of the low gaming taxes. But at the same time, if it were to go up a point, that would not kill the gaming industry in Nevada.
Well, and could well fund a piece of that. And there's, yes, there should. The present decision on Spring Valley is about 60,000 acre feet and of water, on an annual basis. By the time you take that, actually use the return flow credits back into mead of 60,000 acre feet, well, it's 20% of what they already have. So, yeah, is that doable? It probably is. But again, 60,000 acre feet through a $15 billion pipeline, it's probably not enough water. So, and that's about all that's there.
Really?
Yeah.
The other thing is, of course, is the aquifer in eastern Nevada is a one-shot deal. Now, it may last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, but it's not a permanent thing. That's deep geologic water that they discovered during the MX project.
Right. Well, yeah, if you get into that deep carbonate. Now, I think what they're basing the 60,000 acre feet on in Spring Valley would be perennial yield, and that should be sustainable. But again, that's about all there is, and that's a lot of money for 50, 60,000 acre feet of water on an annual basis.
All right, let's take a break. More with Pete Goicoechea when we come back.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. Are you a homeowner who's interested in remodeling or building a home? At Design Outdoor, we can show you how adding natural or manufactured masonry stone can add beauty and value to your home. And we refer only the best contractors. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
One of the most psychologically damaging things parents can do to children in divorce is disparage one another, which is why I can't believe I even have to make this commercial. Half of your kids' genetics come from this person you're spewing hate about. Your children have the right to love you both, but more than that, they deserve to love themselves.
Marilyn York might be a men's rights divorce attorney, but this is for every selfish parent. Shut up.
Hi, I'm Dave Newman. Remember me? I used to be the house detective, and now I'm a realtor, full-time at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates. A lot of people ask me, how's the market? You know what? It's fantastic. If you're even kicking around the idea of buying or selling, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Call me at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates and just ask for the guy who used to be the house detective, Dave Newman.
Everyone is talking about opioids, but they're not the only drugs that can be harmful if taken in large quantities or not as prescribed. You also need to be aware of side effects from anxiety drugs, muscle relaxants, sleep aids, and stimulants. Mixing prescription drugs with other drugs or alcohol can be dangerous. If you take Ambien with a glass of wine, it may be enough to stop you from breathing. Prescribed drugs can be just as dangerous as illegal drugs. Take medications only as directed.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with State Senator Pete Goicoechea. The rural sheriffs are not pleased about this gun control regulation that was passed. And you have several sheriffs now saying that they're not going to carry this out. I believe it was State Senator James Settlemyre who said that they have limited resources and they're not going to try to enforce something that they really don't have the money to go forward with. What are your thoughts on this between we pass something as law and then sheriffs say, hey, we're not going to abide by this?
Well, Senate Bill 143, and of course my comments on the floor as well, unfortunately, the way it was passed in the language in the bill, it's unenforceable. And so I don't blame some of these sheriffs for...
Why do you say unenforceable?
There's just no mechanism in there, technically, because we don't have gun registration in the state or in this nation. And so if you're driving down the road, even after next January, and they pull you over, and you've got a firearm in the vehicle, okay, and they say, well, whose firearm? You say it's mine. How are they going to prove any other?
And it's case closed.
It's case closed. It's unenforceable. So, yeah, they're saying you have to have a transfer document. If I'm going to loan you a gun, I've got to. Says who? Once you have the gun in your possession, there's no track record. So I feel it's very unenforceable. It's completely unenforceable. The bill is written, and unfortunately, we should have went back and either fixed that before we issued that mandate to these all law enforcement all across the state that said, hey, you will enforce. Oh, well, I can understand. They pull you over, you've got a firearm in the vehicle. There's no way to run that firearm.
What's the input you're getting from Sheriff Lombardo or his lobbyists?
Well, not so much Lombardo, but of course, Sheriff Watts' Eureka and Itor from Elko and.
Well, no, I know that the rural Nevadans are and we should point out that for people that live in rural Nevada, guns are a way of life. It's not like it's a big deal. People are driving around with pickup trucks with gun racks in the back. This is normal, and anybody who lives in rural Nevada will tell you this is normal. But in Clark County, not so much.
Well, yes, and clearly after the October 1, it's a huge issue, and it raised it again. But we dealt with the blue cards there, and I'll be honest with you, and I'm probably putting myself in a bad position, but when I went in and out of Vegas, I didn't have a blue card, and then we finally ended up you could have it for 72 hours in and out or whatever. But I'm from rural Nevada, and I typically have a firearm in my vehicle. I don't drive 1,000 miles a week and up and down these roads without at least some kind of a firearm. So yeah, for a lot of years I broke the law going into Clark County, I guess technically. But again, it's very unenforceable. It's tough to enforce. So I guess I'm asking for the next time I pull in, somebody from Clark County will pull me over and check. But again, the firearm I've got there, how can they run a background check on it?
That's where we have to leave it. State Senator Pete Goicoechea, always a pleasure to have you on this program, sir.
Thank you, Shad.
Please come back before the end of session.
A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Kenny! Dad? What are you learning? This place is great. Huh? You gotta try this.
Wow! This stuff is great! People are gonna love it!
Yes. Yes, they will.
St. Ives Florist, for every holiday and every special occasion. For romance. Custom home design. We have the largest selection of fresh flowers in northern Nevada. And we also offer a large selection of unique gift items. Come see me, Lori Ann, at St. Ives Florist, 700 South Wells Avenue, or call me at 333-9190.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
On our next broadcast, Senior Vice President of the Retail Association of Nevada, Brian Wachter. We'll see you then.